too old now. I'm infirm. I can't hear. I can't hear what they're saying.
You really can't hear it?
Really? No. When you reach age 70.
That's I know. I've been there 10 times. I know exactly.
Yeah, you know.
The last time was this last month. Yeah, I always told them, I can't be impartial. I think, I have these 4 regular principles, and everybody who eats meat or has sex or takes any intoxication, tea and coffee, is okay to be impartial judge. Yeah, let me have it. Thanks. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I got it.
Well, I would plead sensory impairment.
Sure. Oh, that's it.
Remember the 4 imperfections?
Yes. That'll do it. Yeah, but before 70, you need a doctor.
Oh, do you have to have a doctor's note?
Well, that's what they say.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Anyway, we're free now.
So far, so good.
Right here. Put it right here.
What were you doing in there? Were you teaching a yoga class?
I was not. I was just talking to this nice gentleman. I was leaving to go get some rest.
Yeah, we have a swami there.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
By Sumanaj.
Actually, I'm going to stay. Maybe, yeah. So, whatever you want to do. Okay. I'm going to stay for like the Gita class because I'm like kind of tired. I'm going to skip. So I'll just be here for like 30 minutes. You can go over say what you want to do. Gita class first or first Gita? You do whatever you want. Okay.
I don't have a book. Please come on. Okay. I thought we could stay.
Well, was that fellow?
A guest of his.
Is he out there?
I think so. Anyway, we'll be all right. I think he's coming back in. Maybe Michael will show up. No, maybe not. Oh. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira vanachari Yamuna tira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Mr. Paramahansa Bhagavadgitacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Bhagavadgitacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktabinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Now, did we do 35? I think we did 35. Yes, we did 35. And we did 36 too. Yes, because I remember I was saying how the same word is there, but actually it's not the same. One is asangyata and one is asangshayam. So we're on 37. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Am I in the right spot, or is it usually over one?
I think it's a little over one. I don't usually do this.
Yeah. I know.
So
I need to pull over it, and the reason why... Yeah, I got it.
it's the camera.
No, it's not the... No, that's what it is.
That's why.
But that's not why I want to pull over it. Because on this configuration, my back is too far, close to being power pod. You don't want to put your back.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I should have noticed. Why don't we lift it together? Yeah, get on here. So, well, it's right, that's right in the middle of that box. Box. Something's amiss.
I think
Am I back more? No, back is too far.
No, this is
Forward. It's on this box, I think. Right in here. This goes in here. And then, yeah.
Oh, where the scar marks. No, that's too close.
Too far forward?
No.
For tonight, it's
Yeah,
probably
too far
not.
forward.
We're up here.
This?
Yeah.
I see the boxes. It's too far back, it seems.
No, he's good.
But,
I
you
think
know,
that's it.
usually we have another.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. We have more people. All right. We'll be all right. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, that has to be parallel. No. Otherwise it falls over. See the logic there. Okay, that's it. Oops. Yeah, this seems pretty well, right? Anyway, it'll
That's
work.
pretty good about those squares. I didn't know that.
All right, Krishna. All right, did I do Om Namo?
Yeah.
And then we're ready to say.
All right, on this side, yes. Oh, Natalie, thank you for coming. We need more seats. Let's grab your own seat.
Right here.
Oh, she can sit there, yeah.
Would you like a chair? No, thank you.
Yeah, she does this fine. Okay, 17, right? It's the
37.
No, I'm saying July 17th.
Oh, today's
Yes.
July
A
17th.
lot of people got married today.
Here we go.
On the 17th day of July, whoops, wait a minute. On the 17th day of July 2017 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in chapter 6 entitled Dhyana Yoga, the Yoga of Meditation. We're on page 290 and it's text number 37. Page 290. Arjuna Vacha Ayati Shandayo Peto Yoga Chalitamanasaha Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. Arjuna Vacha Ayati Shandayo Peto Yoga Chalitamanasaha Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. Arjuna Vacha Ayati Shraddhayo Peto Yoga Chalitamanasaha Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. Arjuna Vacha Ayati Shraddhayo Peto Yoga Chalitamanasaha Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. Arjuna Vacha Ayati Shraddhayo Peto Yoga Chalitamanasaha Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. Arjuna Vacha Ayati Shraddhayo Peto Yoga Chalitamanasaha Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. Arjuna Vacha, Arjuna said, Ayati, the unsuccessful transcendentalist, Shraddhaya, with faith, Upetaha, engaged, Yogat, from the mystic link, Chalita, deviated, Manasaha, who has such a mind, Aprapya, failing to attain, Yoga Samsiddhim, the highest perfection in mysticism, Kam, which, Gatim, destination, Krishna, O Krishna, Gacchati, achieves. Translation. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist, who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? Purport. The path of self-realization or mysticism is described in the Bhagavad Gita. The basic principle of self-realization is knowledge that the living entity is not this material body, but that he is different from it, and that his happiness is in eternal life, bliss, and knowledge. These are transcendental, beyond both body and mind. Self-realization is sought by the path of knowledge, by the practice of the Eightfold System, or by Bhakti Yoga. In each of these processes, one has to realize the constitutional position of the living entity, his relationship with God, and the activities whereby he can re-establish the lost link and achieve the highest perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. Following any of the above-mentioned three methods, one is sure to reach the supreme goal sooner or later. This was asserted by the Lord in the second chapter. Okay, it's gotten a little too noisy. Natalie, can you close that door, not all the way, but leave about a foot open? Maybe that'll be a little help. Yeah, you can kick that shoe out of the way. Or just, no, don't use the shoe to block it. Just kick it out of the way and use the thing. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we'll get a little. We're going to get a fan for the corner soon. Every time I give class, I say I got to get a fan in here. It's going to be a long, hot summer. Okay, so where were we? Second chapter. Okay. Yeah. Even a little endeavor on the transcendental path offers a great hope for deliverance. Out of these three methods, the path of Bhakti Yoga is especially suitable for this age because it is the most direct method of God realization. To be doubly assured, Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna to confirm his former statement. One may sincerely accept the path of self-realization, but the process of cultivation of knowledge and the practice of the eightfold yoga system are generally very difficult for this age. Therefore, despite constant endeavor, one may fail for many reasons. First of all, one may not be sufficiently serious about following the process. To pursue the transcendental path is more or less to declare war on the illusory energy. Consequently, whenever a person tries to escape the clutches of the illusory energy, she tries to defeat the practitioner by various allurements. A conditioned soul is already allured by the modes of material nature, and there is every chance of being allured again, even while performing transcendental disciplines. This is called yogat chalita manasa, deviation from the transcendental path. Arjuna is inquisitive to know the results of deviation from the path of self-realization. Om jnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakya chakshu unmidatam mena tasmai shri gurave namah. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So this conversation now is taking place on the platform of Arjuna really expressing his doubt that he can succeed in this process of Ashtanga Yoga, the eightfold yoga process. Back in text 33, he first expressed his doubt. O Madhusudan, the system of yoga you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Now, with that kind of pessimism, that's a pretty wet blanket, you know. How's he going to succeed? So, Krishna encourages him. Thou, O mighty son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. This is my opinion. But the whole point is that Arjuna doubts whether he can control the mind. So that's the problem. So now he's already assuming, basically, Hare Krishna, welcome, that he's not going to succeed. He says that with I may have so much faith. First of all, you have to have faith that you will succeed. Hare Krishna, welcome. Hold on a minute. We may have a. Are you going to stay for class? Would you like to stay for class?
It will be.
Okay. Now we're not going to have darshan for another till 8:15. Okay. If you do want to sit, you sit on this side because this is the ladies' side. I'm saying because we might have a man coming back over there. That was why I asked you. You're welcome to stay, absolutely. And we have many more cushions if you need them. Is it okay? If you need a chair, we have chairs. So, Shraddha, the first thing that Arjuna says, okay, in other words, someone has faith. If you don't have faith, you're just going through the motions. There's no question of succeeding in any path. But if you have faith, then you have to be doing the process correctly. And but Arjuna is doubtful that he's already asking what happens if you don't succeed. He's already cast a sense of doubt over this. What is the destination? We're on page 290. We're studying Arjuna and Krishna are conversing now about mystic yoga. You know something about yoga, Ashtanga yoga? Yeah. So Krishna has described this process. Arjuna expresses doubts in text 33, thinking that, page 290, top of the page, that the mind is too restless. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati palabadradham tasyaham nivraham manye vayu iva sadushkaram. The famous verse. Chanchalam. We all experience the mind's going here and there. You maybe fix it here, but then you get distracted over there. It just goes on and on. So now that's the whole object of sadhana in mystic yoga. You got to get control of that mind, which is compared sometimes to a wild horse, sometimes to a bee, to a wild wind like a hurricane. Not easy. So Arjuna's already expressed his doubts. Krishna says, yes, it's difficult, but you can succeed by the proper means, and then with faith and with perseverance. So Arjuna is pessimistic, and he's saying that, okay, so well, suppose someone tries and doesn't succeed. Then what happens? Because he's already heard in many cases the idea that we live again. We never die. So we spend our life struggling, control the mind, fail. Then what happens? That's this point. Now in this purport, Srila Prabhupada very nicely describes the relative practicality of the different kinds of yoga. If one accepts the basic premise of the Bhagavad Gita, that we're not the body, we're pure spirit soul, that that the body itself is a restriction, is kind of a prison house for the soul, and we're not really experiencing ourselves in our true nature. All of us are eternal, we're full of bliss, we're full of knowledge. But I think we can say honestly that in this life we aren't eternal, obviously, nor are we always full of bliss, nor are we full of ignorance. So we're not in our natural state. So how to get from this state to that state? That's the process of yoga, different kinds of yoga. Krishna has already spoken of karma yoga and jnana yoga, and now he's just described dhyana yoga, and in chapter 7 he's going to start with bhakti yoga. So some kind of yoga has to be there. Because what is the yoga? Yoga means to link up, to become connected again. We're disconnected artificially from the Supreme Lord, from the Supreme Source of this eternal, blissful, full knowledge life that we're trying to get. So how to connect? Well, you start from where you're at. We're all doing things. Just to maintain ourselves, we have to go here, do so many things in this life. Through that very work, one can connect to Krishna. If one knows the art, if one has the understanding and the faith. And that is through the process, basically, of yajna, of sacrifice. Because when we work, we get a certain amount of fruits for the work. So the portion of it, whatever portion we can, we give over to worship of the Supreme. Sacrifice. That's the sacrifice. Then, the activity we performed for getting that fruit, that becomes yoga. That becomes bhakti. There's no sinful reaction. There's no karmic reaction that keeps us bound here. The science is that whatever we work in this world, if we do it in ignorance, it's going to keep us bound here. Either it's going to be sukriti or duskriti. It's going to be pious activity or it's going to be sinful activity. And either way, we have to come back again to enjoy or suffer those fruits. Even if everything we do is sukriti, and we have a nice bank account of sukriti that when we leave this body, and we would do to get a nice situation in this world or even go to the higher world, still, we have to take that fruit, even if it's a sweet fruit. And that means another material body, and that means suffering, birth, old age, disease, and death. So the sacrifice that we need to perform is that which is for Krishna's pleasure. Then there's no material reaction. It's beyond sukriti and duskriti, and it's in the transcendental realm. So that's spoken of in the 3rd chapter. In the 4th chapter, we learn more about the yoga of knowledge, in which one is conscious as one is working of one's situation and the need for doing everything on the transcendental platform beyond the modes of nature. In the 5th chapter, this was pursued some more. In the 6th chapter, we've heard all about this process of Ashtanga yoga, 8-fold yoga, just to review: yam, niyam, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So this is a progressive process of directly working with the mind. But it requires so many prerequisites that really aren't practical for us. If we, all of us here, and all of us out there, are going to practice yoga, we need something that we can do practically. And going off alone to the Himalayas and sitting down for, years and struggling with the mind, and that's not going to happen. And that's why Arjuna is pessimistic. He's a fighter. He's a Kshatriya. He's active. He's not about to sit down and practice this yoga for so long. He's saying, I don't think I can do it. And so now he's saying, okay, Krishna, thank you for the instruction, but now I'm thinking, well, what's going to happen if I fail? In other words, I make so much progress, but I don't, so he's pessimistic. So Prabhupada is explaining here that the great efficacy of bhakti yoga, that first of all, as Krishna already explained in the second chapter on page 290, if you want to look, even a little progress on this path protects one from the greatest danger. Neha bhikkamanasho sti pratyavayo navidyate swopamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bayat. So it's very encouraging. I remember when I first read that, well, this is encouraging. Because, who really thinks that for sure they're going to go back to Godhead and get completely pure? But here in this verse, Krishna says, "Na iya abhikrama nastoti." In this endeavor of Krishna consciousness, there's no loss and there's no diminution. Meaning that, it's a win-win. Whatever you succeed in doing, even if it's just 5%, and you leave your body and you have so many impurities, still, whatever you did is going to bring you back into a human form next life, and you'll pick up there. You'll pick up from 6%. Now, where do you find anything materially? That's that. You got to leave it all behind. You may have so much money, so much fame, so much honors, whatever you have. It stays here. You don't take that with you. You take your karma with you, but you don't take the results of you. So this is very encouraging. So that's one thing. Now, the other thing is that bhakti yoga, as Krishna will explain in a few chapters at the beginning of the 9th chapter, it's susukam kartamabhyam. It's the most confidential, most efficacious. It's happily performed. Prabhupada once said in a famous conversation, the devotees say, well, it seems very austere, but practically it's a process of recreation only. Dancing and chanting and feasting, and we have all these festivals coming. This is yoga? You call this yoga? Yes. This is the yoga of the age. Lord Chaitanya came, dancing and chanting. Take it. You don't have to sit and press the nose and do all these austere things, There are austerities, but they're minimal compared to what the yogis have to go through, the Ashtanga yogis. So that's one thing, it's practical. So Arjuna is acquisitive to know, but even in every path there's a question of what happens if you fail. On the material side, it's obvious. You fail, you fail. We're going to build the Brooklyn Bridge. We got 3/4 of the way through and we just ran out of money. The bridge is useless, right? I mean, in India sometimes, you spent time in India. They start a project. Oftentimes it's a temple. And before they have all the money, they start building because they figure, well, people will see the buildings coming up and then they'll donate. But for whatever reason, the money dries up and you see these half-built temples, half-built buildings. So what's the use of it? It doesn't. So materially, you have to complete in order. But for Krishna consciousness, as Krishna will explain, it's all auspicious, whatever you can. So that's the idea here. All right. Any comments, questions on text 37? I just want to congratulate our Damara, for not having to get sucked into the jury. Did they let you? They let you go?
Immediately.
Immediately. They just saw you? You told them what I told you?
I told them what you said.
I don't think I can be an impartial judge. I'd like to be impartial, but right? You told them four regs.
I said that we follow the law of karma, and therefore something along those lines. And then the judge was saying that would he be able to abide by the laws of the civil laws, or would he have to go by the law of karma?
And you told them the law of karma. Well, I hope they don't come after us. He was in jury duty. They called him for jury duty. you know, to go down, and we really want to get out of it. You
You
know.
have to get dismissed.
All right, in 50 years you'll be 70, you won't have to worry about it anymore. We don't have to worry about it anymore. We aged out. All right, that was all not recorded, I made sure. So then we will now do text 38. Kachinno bhaya vibrashtas
Kachinno vaya vishvashtas.
chinnabram iva nashyati
Chinnabram vivinashti.
apatishto mahabaho
Apatishto mahabaho.
vimudho brahmanakpati. Almighty Ram Krishna, does not such a man who failed in achieving success in Ashtanga Yoga, who is bewildered from the path of transcendence, fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? Purport. There are two ways to progress. Those who are materialists have no interest in transcendence. Therefore, they are more interested in material advancement by economic development or in promotion to the higher planets by appropriate work. When one takes to the path of transcendence, one has to cease all material activities and sacrifice all forms of so-called material happiness. In the aspiring transcendentalist, if the inspiring transcendentalist fails, then he apparently loses both ways. In other words, he can enjoy neither material happiness nor spiritual success. He has no position. He is like a riven cloud. A cloud in the sky sometimes deviates from a small cloud and joins a big one. But if it cannot join a big one, then it is blown away by the wind and becomes a non-entity in the vast sky. The Brahmanapati is the path of transcendental realization through knowing oneself to be spiritual in essence, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, who is manifested as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Lord Sri Krishna is the fullest manifestation of the Supreme Absolute Truth, and therefore one who is surrendered to the Supreme Person is a successful transcendentalist. To reach this goal of life through Brahman and Paramatma realization takes many, many births. Bahunam janmanam ante. Therefore, the supermost path of transcendental realization is Bhakti Yoga, or Krishna consciousness, the direct method. So this is a constant theme throughout all our literature. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, you'll find, in Bhagavad Purana, the first canto, the first few chapters describe how the book became to be written by Srila Vyasadeva. And Srila Vyasadeva wrote this Bhagavad Gita as part of the much larger work called the Mahabharata. He wrote the Vedanta Sutra, he wrote the 4 Vedas down, he wrote the Puranas, the other Puranas, besides the Bhagavad Purana, before he wrote the Bhagavad Purana. Then after writing all of those, he still felt dissatisfied. I mean, why was he writing them? He wasn't just, writing. He was doing it for us. He was doing it for humanity, which needed guidance. Otherwise, you suffer like blind people groping. But still, he felt dissatisfied. And Narada Muni came, his spiritual master, and enlightened him why he was dissatisfied. And the reason was he had not written a book that wholly and solely described Bhakti Yoga, which is the only practical means in this age. These other works, they describe bhakti, but they also describe many other processes. In the Vedas, you find the Karma Kanda section describing all of these sacrifices to improve your situation on earth or go to the heavenly planets. But it's material. Krishna describes in the next chapter and also in the 9th chapter how self-defeating that process is. So as soon as you have a material motive, you're headed toward failure. Because anything material in this world must perish due to time. Even if you do make it up to Indraloka and enjoy like anything for a long time, much more than here, still it comes to an end. Chine punya matya lokam vishantam, and you have to come back to this world of death. Death is kind of the mark of defeat in this world. As soon as you're dying, everything that you accomplished here in this body is drawn away. Except if there's some spiritual assets because that's not really something that adheres to the body, that's part of the soul, your spiritual consciousness. So, everything material perishes, so therefore our success can only be on the spiritual plane. Now in Bhakti Yoga, you start from the very beginning with the path of success. What is it that binds us here? It's the first thing is this false sense of self we call the ahankar. Ahankar is why we're in the material world. is that ahankara is this false sense of self, separate from God, separate from Krishna. If we want that, then Krishna will arrange for the material energy to give it to us. And that gift is this material body, which is made of the different material elements. We're all sitting here, but we're not really sitting here. In other words, our bodies are sitting here, but our spirits are transcendental. We don't really see each other as we are. We see our bodies. But the bodies eventually will fall. And so the question is, what's the point of struggling for something that you can only experience through the body? We want to experience through our spiritual senses. We have a body that looks like a human being, right? Because the spirit soul resembles Krishna's form. Right? It says in the Bible, we're made in the image of God. So we all have this human form. Now we can also take other forms for serving Krishna. But the idea is the consciousness in Goloka Vrindavan of the cows and the trees and everything else is superior to our consciousness. They've just taken that form in order to serve Krishna in a certain way. That's another point. But the idea is that Bhakti Yoga begins with the false ego. The first thing in Bhakti Yoga that you need to have is humility. Amanitvam madambitvam. You see in chapter 13, the elements of knowledge, it begins with pridelessness. In other words, I don't know anything. Please enlighten me. I can't figure out on my own how to achieve success in this world. This was Arjuna's mood in text 7 of chapter 2. After a whole chapter of arguing with Krishna why he didn't want to fight, right? And then in chapter 2, he finally says, I surrender. I don't really know. I'm paralyzed by my indecision. Karpan dosho pahataso. I don't know what dharma is. Samudra dharma, cheta. And so I'm now surrendering to you as the guru, the supreme guru. Yakshe eksan nishitam bruhit. Please tell me for certain. This is what we need for certain. The path to my ultimate good. Shreya ksyan. Ksyan means to come into being. How can my shreya, my ultimate good, be achieved or come into being? I don't know. So now, bruhitanme shishyasteham. I'm your shishya. A shishya means one who agrees to be controlled by the superior person, the guru. So who could be the best guru? But Krishna. Krishna is the original guru. So shishyasteham, shadimam, please instruct me, tram papanna. This papanna word is so key. It means full surrender. That's the hard part, because it's directly against this ahankar. Ahankar says, I'm the doer, I'm the owner, I can control whatever. And you can see, even in the lower animals, you know, the big dog tries to, you know, the little dog. The cats have their own strategy, right? The birds say, you can't catch me, I'm out of here. Everyone has his, and everyone's controlling their little, in ignorance. So we're also part of that. So the Bhakti Yoga begins with surrender and faith. Faith that the source of knowledge is trustworthy, and that if I follow this path, that I'll succeed. So Arjuna he's representing us. And so Krishna is covering all the different paths, but basically Bhagavad Gita is about Bhakti Yoga. And we'll see in the next chapter. So the question here is, because Arjuna is saying, well, suppose I renounce everything, because the path is you have to go away to be alone, you sit on a seat, right? No association, nothing. That's quite a commitment. So Arjuna says, okay, I try, but I've already figured my mind is so wild, I'll never be able to do it. All right, suppose someone tries and fails. Now he's already given up all of his attempts to enjoy materially, that's gone. And now he hasn't succeeded spiritually. So he's lost both, like the ribbon cloud. But that's a essentially fallacious idea. Because, and Krishna will explain, no, whatever you succeed in this life, you carry forward, unlike material things. That's the key difference. So I'll just read this text 39. So this is now the doubt. Doubt is the enemy of faith. So you need faith. Doubt is going to paralyze. Etanme sankshayam Krishna.
Etanme sankshayam Krishna.
Chetumarhasya sheshataha. Tvadanyak sangshayasyasa. Yasya. Chetana yupapadyate. This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Purport. Krishna is the perfect knower of past, present, and future. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said that all living entities existed individually in the past, they exist now in the present, and they continue to retain individual identity in the future, even after liberation from the material entanglement. So he has already cleared up the question of the future of the individual living entity. Now Arjuna wants to know of the future of the unsuccessful transcendentalist. No one is equal to or above Krishna. And certainly the so-called great sages and philosophers who are at the mercy of the material nature cannot equal him. Therefore the verdict of Krishna is the final and complete answer to all doubts, because he knows past, present, and future perfectly. But no one knows him. Krishna and Krishna-conscious devotees alone can know what is what. So, this clearing of doubts, this is a very important aspect of Krishna consciousness. This comes up again and again, the end of the 4th chapter, when Krishna says, I think it's at the end of the 4th chapter, slay these doubts by this weapon of knowledge and get up and fight. So there's faith and there's doubt. You know, this is warring within us. The faith is really the first step in bhakti, some preliminary faith. Adau Shraddha. And then what is the faith, the first result? Tatak Saru Sangha. It brings you into the association of devotees. Because we have influences on our life. How do we believe what we believe? Because throughout our lives, we are associating with others who are telling us things. With the material energy, we learn so much from that. You know, or we think we know so many things from that. But there's always a question of, is this really accurate information? It's like you know, the ordinary person with no access to this knowledge and just ordinary life. So what happens? You grow up and you have certain associates in like school, right? And every mother knows and every parent knows they have to watch out so the kid doesn't get into the wrong company or run with the wrong crowd, right? Because they know that, oh, then they'll start doing drugs and get off into whatever, right? I mean, every mother knows that. So that's a big worry, right? Mother's life is one of great anxiety. Even Mother Yashoda had anxiety. Not that Krishna would get him in the wrong crowd, but he's going out to the forest every day without shoes, and you know he's going to step on this, and then what's going to happen? You know, so that's transcendental love. But the idea is that you know the child doesn't know, and you just get attracted here, attracted there, and then a disaster could happen. So it's all this question of association. So you try to provide an environment, a wholesome environment, so that the child will prosper and develop nicely. So that principle is there in everything. Sangat sanjayate kama. This is a line from the verse in the 2nd chapter also. Sangat sanjayate kama. As you associate, so your desires develop. This is the general meaning of that. And anyone can know that's true. The mind is just like a sponge. Whatever you put near it, it colors that way. This is what the modes of nature are all about. If like I like to point out, we're sitting here in the Hare Krishna temple. A mere 50 feet away, or maybe 75 feet away, is the Sandbox Pizza Joint. Well, it's a pizza joint, but they make sure but fire water, we also serve, and beer, right? In other words, it is a bar, but it serves pizza. So that we have freedom of everyone can walk in here. I'm sure more people walk in there than walk in here. So as you walk in now, suddenly you're in that environment. You're going to hear the sounds, the big TV with some kind of sports on it, whatever it is, and the smells and the liquor. Obviously, that's going to affect your consciousness. You made a certain choice. So, on the platform of ignorance, we don't know what the results of our activities are going to be. We operate on, well, does it look interesting? Does it look attractive? And that's a sure path toward defeat, toward suffering. Because what looks attractive is the material energy, and to enjoy it. That's why we're here. As soon as you turn away from Krishna, you get bewildered by the phantasmagoria of the material world. which is just a reflection of the spiritual world. Naturally, it's attractive. You see, we made our commitment. We're not going to be servants of Krishna anymore. So he says, okay, now you go to the reformatory, which and try to exploit and try to enjoy. And again and again and again we fail. We see in this world it's impossible. Yeah. So that much we can understand temporarily. But unless we have someone who can interpret that and tell us a way out, the nature of the material energy is that we forget. And again we try to do it. This is called punak punascharvita charvananam. This is a verse by Prahlad Maharaj. He's teaching his father. His father is this huge demon, conquered the universe. Prahlad is just a fragile little 5-year-old. But because he's completely absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, he's fearless. And so he's constantly preaching to his father. So the second lesson is, how does it go? Yeah, so how did you attain these powers and become? So he has this lesson that's very instructive. Prabhupada quoted all the time. Matirna Krishne paratak svatova mito vipadyete grihavadhana abdanta gobhi vishatam tamisram punak punascharvita charvanana. So basically he's telling his father there, oh father, oh best of the asuras, don't worry, you won't become Krishna conscious. Matirna Krishna means putting your mind on Krishna. Paratak svatova, those who are completely committed to material life, he says, grihavartanam, taken a vow more or less to try to enjoy materialistic family life or any kind of life. And therefore, adanta gobhir, the senses are out of control. The senses go here and drag the mind and everything else with it. So that's what he's talking about. Such persons, and you're one of them, Father, you'll never be able to put your mind on Krishna. Matirna Krishna. Either if you come into a class, you haven't wandered into a Hare Krishna class, or you study on your own, or whatever you try to do, you'll never be able to do it if you maintain those attitudes. We have adantago vishatamta misram. You progressively be entering into darkness of ignorance with their following your uncontrolled senses. And what's the motto? Punak punascharvita charvananam. Chewing the chewed. In other words, we've been through so many bodies, human bodies, demigod bodies, lower bodies. We've enjoyed every variety of sense gratification you can imagine. And even in this life, we've enjoyed various things, and still, not having any access to transcendental pleasure, we try to enjoy it again. It's just like some poor guy, some poor homeless guy, he sees a wad of gum that someone's chewed, so maybe there's some taste. That's it, chewing the chewed. But in this life, you can say viewing the viewed. Everybody's stuck on the screen. I've seen it 1,000,000 times. Maybe it's something new. Let me try again. There's always that hope, you see. So why is that? So then he goes to the next verse. Na te means they. They who I described in the previous verse. Vidu svartakatimi Vishnu. A very critical line. Na te vidu svartakatim. First of all, the very important word, svarta, means swa-arta, my ultimate goal. Arta means something valuable. It often means money, but in this context, it means your ultimate goal of life. They don't know that their ultimate goal of life is Vishnu, Krishna. They have no idea. Nate vidu svartakim. And so, durashaya ye bahirarta manana. They're looking for the bahirarta, the external, more money, more this, more that, more prestige, whatever. Something material. That's called bahirarta manina. The mind's absorbed in that. And durashaya, which is never to be achieved. It is a hopeless hope. Ashaya means an aspiration, and dur means never to be achieved. But still, that's all we know. So, bahiratma. And andaya tandaya. Now, in this illusion, they find others who are in the same illusion who will encourage you. In other words, you're all among the materialists. And as far as anyone knew, that Prahlad was one of them. But he wasn't. He was actually a great devotee. But somehow he got born amongst the demons. So he was preaching to his classmates. This is why his father really wanted to kill them. He's undermining the whole demonic society. if the next generation, Anyway, so andaya tanda rupaniyamana. So it's the blind leading the blind, the famous blind leading the blind. very authoritative, very skillful speakers, but they're completely blind to the goal of life, and they completely convince you on this material path. That's the world we live in. So, and everybody remains completely bound up tightly by the ropes of the gunas, of the three modes of nature. Now, what's the solution to this? In 2 verses, he's painted a very bleak picture of the materialist bound hand and foot by illusion. So then he says, and this is a key word, about the role of of Krishna sending his realized soul. Unless there's an intervention into this closed system, we can never get out. But Krishna is not going to leave us forever in this. He's trying to help us. So he intervenes directly on himself by coming, as he will with Nrsimhadev and save Prahlad. But at this point, he intervenes periodically by sending his representatives, spiritual masters, realized souls. For Prahlad, who knows who his guru was? You know.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Narada Muni. It was Prahlad's guru, his spiritual master. He instructed him in the womb. You remember that?
Right.
Yeah. So Narada Muni is a great spiritual master for many great souls. But they're also, today, to break through the darkness of ignorance, of blindness, and shed the light of truth. So that's the next verse. Naisham matistava rukramanging spishityanata pagamo hirata mahisham pararajo bhishekam nishkinchananam navanita yavat. So yavat tavat, this is a Sanskrit idiom, means unless you do this, you won't get this. So usually it's negative. And as long as you don't do this, you won't get that. So naisham matis, what are we looking for? It began with mati and the Krishna, placing your mind on Krishna. Now the third verse says, na esham matis tavaduru kramangrim. Mati, back to the mind. Mati is a word for mind. You will not be able to place your mind, fix your mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Naisham matis tavaduru kramangrim. Spishati, you can't touch it with your mind. In other words, it's a kind of association. Spishat anarta pagamo yarat. So this is a great value, to be able to focus and absorb the mind in Krishna's lotus feet. What is the result of that? That goal? And you get the further goal of getting rid of all anartas. Means lust, anger, greed, illusion, all of these things dissipate when you become absorbed in Krishna consciousness. But you can't do it as long as, until you do what the last 2 lines describe. Naishamatistava durukam spishachanartabhagamo mahiyasham bharadajo abhishekam. Now abhishek, is a bath, right? Something we have, the abhishek of the deities. So one has to bathe himself in the dust of the lotus feet of the pure soul. In other words, we're back to the false ego. This is the process of surrender. You see? Naishamatistava Nishkinchananam navanita yava. Nishkinchana. Nishkinchana means someone who's completely free of material desire and whose only desire is the service of Krishna. That's the person who you need to find to direct you and to take you by the hand, basically, and lead you out of this trap of the material energy. So Hiranyakashipu is not about to do that. He's completely wrapped up in pride and false ego and all of these things. So instead he just gets angry at his son, tries to kill him, and then eventually he's killed by Nrsimhadev. So that principle is throughout Bhakti Yoga. It begins with the hankar, it begins with that surrender, giving up one's false sense of ego, that I'm the doer, I'm the knower, I'm the controller, I can do, and hearing and then acting on that hearing, on that instruction. Okay, I've gone on quite a while, sorry to harangue you in this way. Any comments or questions? It's Krishna speaking. All right, we're almost at the time. So we will resume tomorrow on text 40. Krishna's last 7 verses here will resolve everything, as they always do. But we have 1 minute or so. I'll give you one of my little poems. This is a poem at the beginning of the 21st chapter of the 10th canto, which is the Venu Gita. Is the songs of the gopis. You familiar with that? You seem to know all these things.
No.
A little bit. Okay. So this is description. The rainy season is over and autumn has begun, and everything is very pure. And so Krishna is now walking out with his friends into the forest and playing his flute. So the verse goes like this. There's two verses. Kusameta bonadad shishmi bringa vijikuta gushta saraksarin mahidram Madhapadadapagaya charihunga sahapasupala balastuku javenam Barhapidam natabadavapu karnayo karnikaram Bimbrad vasak kanikakapisham Vaijayandin chamalam Randran Venor Adadasudeya Purdayan Gopa Vrinda Vrindaranyam Sapadadamanam Rabhishad Gita Kirti. So that's the Sanskrit poetry. So I put it into a little English. Let's see if I can remember. Vrindavan's rivers, lakes and hills ring out with charming hums and trills as flocks of birds and maddened bees rejoice among the flowering trees. To those idyllic woods and glens repairs Govinda with his friends. Sri Rama and the cowherd boys to taste the most exquisite joys, and as they walk along the way, absorbed in herding and in play, Sri Krishna, beauty absolute, begins to play his mystic flute. With peacock plume upon his head and fragrant flower on each ear, he enters Burgess Wood with tread sublime, a dancer without peer. His golden yellow raiment glows, his garland reaches to his knees, and from his lips the nectar flows and fills his flute with melodies. As Krishna thus begins his day with friends who sing his glory sweet, he beautifies the forest way with fine impressions of his feet. Samadhi culminates in this, to always see this scene of bliss within oneself and outside too. May Krishna give this boon to you. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.
Okay, we're going to have kirtan in 3 minutes. We'll see if you see the deities. Why were you late? We'll be on time next time.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you mind if I test it? No one set up?
Actually,
You're
Time.
Time of the clock didn't work?
yeah.
Well, yeah, they all say.
And
Brill. Oh, of course.
Yeah, I leave,
Oh.
my parents were afraid I'd become Jewish.
No.
SanDiego?
Classmates,
Oh, really?
How does he hear
and they didn't
about
want me to know about it. We didn't know that drugs were not came in.
So they don't mind you go to yogi? Oh, they didn't know.
Sat down with drugs. Because I first class. Much like it's really good because like some of them we kind of associate what we are first and sometimes and then we understand how it's a deeper meaning of everything versus what we heard from our mothers and parents when they used to, push you to do enthusiasm. So it's very nice to I don't say I
You're gonna be able
a
to
lot,
stay to
but
the
I
art?
have heard so many
Good.
Krishna and his
I'm sorry?
all those things are like always they come to religions, they
2 minutes later, no call.
because you're
Come at the right time.
taught to make
I'm sorry?
We can all see the stage.
Yes, you can just go right down.
I'm from South.
And the first door on your left, second door on your left.
How do you know?
Because I missed the count.
Okay, it's you and me.
No,
That's
just-
awesome.
just joking.
Let's do it.
No, just kidding.
That is really, South India is good.
I think you got it. Give me that. Oh, back here.
I'm good.
Let's do it. They're going to blow the conch in 1 minute.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me.
Where were you coming from?
Oh, no, I'm from, coming from the SanDiego state side.
Okay. But you know all about it.
I don't know everything, I just,
Know something.
like, I just know the overall why Bhagavad Gita was written, what is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, why.
From childhood?
Kind of, because my mom, she worships all the gods and she recites the Vishnu Sahasranama, she recites everything. And
What
I
are
also,
suspicious verses?
yeah, I also was kind of taught how to recite that, but I don't know by heart, but I just taught how to read it.
I mean, take one little book. We can take it.
Yeah. I sing the Bhagavad Gita.
World visit. Yours is broken, mine is very good. So, we what's your name?
My name is Banu.
Banu?
Yeah.
My name is Damodar. Damodar Banu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're welcome to come anytime. Every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 7:15. All along
Yeah.
the RC and free time in the shower.
I didn't know about this temple. My friend knew about. She told me about I visited temples in India, like a lot of different things. I really like them. I visited one in Bangalore. Yeah, that's a very big one. It's on
All right, we're going to open the church now.
Bhaktivedanta Swami. Cockles. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschachari Shatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachari Shattari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Natalie, play this instead. Could you play this instead? You're off beat there. Maybe you'd be better on beat with this. Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sariko Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna. Can you help out? Help out. Radha Shiva Sariko Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Giridhari ki jai, Jai Mustapad Paramahansa Parivrtikacharya, Ashtottara to the Shri Srimad Divine Grace, Srila A.C.
Ganga Mehi ki jai, Yamuna Mehi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Francis Mukti Krishna ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, all glory to the Son of Lord, all glory to the Son of Lord, all glory to the Son of Lord, all glory to the Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya.
Hallara hallara handayine, Hiranyakashipo vakshaha, Achilatankana kalaye, Hito nishinga parato nishingo, Yato yato yamitato nishinga, Bahir nishingo rindaye nishingo, Yase hamadim sharanam prapaje, Tavakara kamalavare nakam Ambuta shringa Andarita Hiranakashipu Tarum bringa Krishna Vakrika Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Tavakara Kamalavare Ambuta Shringa Dharita Anantasipu Tarum Bringa Krishna Vakrika Narahari Tamakara Kamalavare Nakamanduta Shringa Andarita Hiranakashipu Tarum Bringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Tavakara Kamala Hare. Keshava Krita Naradi Rupa Jai Jagadish Jai Jagadish Keshavandrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Keshavandrita Narahari Rupa Jai Singh Hare, Singh Hare, Singh Hare, Jai Singh Hare. Singh Bhagavan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Don't leave without taking some prasad. Okay. So, were you able to sing? Did you follow the song?
Yes.
Oh, you can't read the transliteration. I'm sorry. Okay, we have some nice prasad here for you. Please come and take a little bit. Little sabji? Is that okay? How about a puri? That's good. I'm going to break these out. Are we okay? Let me give you a spoon. Now, we don't have the cups yet, but they're coming and we can give you some more. Okay? Just a little bit. Complete closing. We got the kirtan, we got the glass, and we got the prasad. Like Nirvana. God's will. It's definitely God's will. Yeah. Good enough. It's okay. I'm going to put the people see that. And we have the cups. How about you? A little milk for you? Yeah, sure. Natalie, would you like some prasad? Okay, come on. We're still getting more on this. How many more days do you have? Monday.
Yeah.
Be there for the rest of the week for the class. Right. It's okay. What do you want? More? How many? 2 or 3? Just 1. It's okay. And it's 4. Who was that? The lounge cups.
Right.
How about yourself? Huh? You like it? Oh, you didn't have lunch?
I had lunch.
Oh, you did? So how long do you have to stay there? You're out in the morning time. 2:30.
No, I slept at 7.
I'm sorry?
I slept at 7.
guy, yeah.